Hello, and welcome to Bare Bones Banter with the Mental Funny Bone. I'm Chris, and I'm here as always with my sister Sarah and Becca, the intern. And this week we have a special guest, Kevin White, the founder of Believe Crew. And Kevin is here to talk to us about his organization and how he got started and some of the things that he's interested in doing and how that kind of relates to what we do at our podcast. So you guys, I will give a quick intro about Believe Crew, and then I have a series of questions to ask Kevin. And just to give a little shout out to Becca and Sarah, thank you for letting me do the talking at the beginning. It makes me feel very important. I appreciate it.
You're doing such a good job. That's so much better than I ever do with a script because I fumble over the script all the time. So you've killed it. You have now earned your spot as the introducer.
Yeah. I think if I ever get good at jujitsu and I go to tournaments, that's what my name is going to be.
The introducer. Oh, you come out to the music of Informer.
Right.
Introducer.
Okay, enough singing. All right, get serious. Be serious. We have company, you guys. Clean it up. All right, so Kevin, I'm going to say some things about Believe Crew, and then you can correct me as we go on.
All right.
So Believe Crew is a coaching and consulting collective that helps individuals and leaders uncover limiting beliefs, heal emotional wounds, and step into empowered self-leadership.
Love that. Good job.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, our friend Chad helped us write that.
Also,
Chad GPT.
Chat GPT.
Yeah. My wife tells me that if she could marry ChatGPT, she would. But at least I'm glad that so far that's not possible.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, our age group, I think we're good. Becca, you might need to worry about it.
Like being replaced by AI girlfriend. I'm actually listening to a podcast, like not right now in my headphones, but in times when I'm not talking to you guys, I'm listening to a podcast about a guy who had a chat or a girlfriend, a AI girlfriend, and got pretty serious. He brought her the AI girlfriend on his phone. He brought her to meet his parents with his wife.
With his wife.
I mean, his wife is there. She's very supportive of the AI girlfriend. It just opens up a whole can of ethics that we didn't cover in college.
Hold on.
Right.
This is a true story?
Yeah. And it's one of a gajillion of them, I would imagine. Like whole sidebar. Kevin, what happens is we have the questions and we look at the questions. Every once in a while, I look over here at the questions and not notice that we haven't done a single question. So
it's an operation in professional distraction is what I'm understanding.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. That is exactly what we do here. Okay. So what we're going to try to do in this episode is get away from the ethics of having a girlfriend in general and when you're married. Like there's lots to unpack there that we're going to
topics give over 6 months of episodes to do after this just on that.
Right. Just on that. That's what our podcast is about now. All right, Kevin. So my first question. What was the spark or personal experience that led you to start the Believe Crew? So what made you come up with the idea? What made you go all in on it? And tell us the origin story, if you will.
Sure. Well, man, it feels so serious. Like the answer, like I got to give serious answers here. I don't know how to do this in a funny way.
We could be serious.
It's okay.
Look at us.
We'll provide the funny.
Look how serious we are.
Yes, I guess really one of the biggest impacts, and I talk about it all the time, even share her story, was my mother-in-law, honestly. And that's why it's so serious. See, Jamie and I, my wife, who's also a co-founder, we founded the company together. We had a year in 2006 and 2007 where we lost both of our moms to cancer. And so but really her mom, her name was Susan, was the one that we paid attention to as far as Believe Crew. And I suppose to a certain extent they both very much live in what we created together in Believe Crew. So they were the start. Is that serious enough for you?
I think so.
That
Is Christine stuck?
that is definitely serious enough.
No, she's back now. I see her.
Give me, my computer has gone absolutely bananas. Give me 1 second. Christine is stuck.
That's
Wait,
all right.
can you guys hear me?
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing, though. That's also
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. The fact that
Yeah. Yeah.
See, told you. You could bring as much serious as you want. We're not going to
And
let it
we're
last
still
long.
going back to the laughs. Yeah, that's
Yep.
good. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if should I continue?
Yeah, I have a question along. I mean, just I think going off kind of the same thing. Are we still recording though? Did we? Yes, we're still recording.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I'm continuing. So how did you find yourself? I think I read. So you have a tech background. That's
Yes. Yep.
initially where you came from. So what happened that made that? What was the spark that you were? Oh, yeah, I'm totally gonna go from restart your computer to restart your life. Like,
Oh, yeah. I love that because that's what I used to always tell my wife the most, and she hated it. Right?
Yeah.
She's got like 40 tabs on her browser. Everything's open. You know, it's been that way for 2 weeks. I recommend that she has to restart, and she's. I hate it when you say that.
I hate it. I
Yes,
hate it. Yeah, I
you know,
think
it should be done once a month or so, I think. But
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
this is back in the Windows 95 days. No, just kidding. But yeah, that's a good question. Well, I mean, really, it became a necessity. I would say a couple things. One, I was not very connected as a tech person, right? I was a dad who showed up in physical presence without connecting to anyone, and at a certain point, Jamie made it clear that, hey, let's shift it a little bit. Let's have more fun here. And so then I started to unravel.
Yes.
So I decided that I really want to show up, right? Like I want to be present. We have 6 boys. So
My goodness
so my
gracious.
oldest 3, I don't know, you guys aware of human design? Do you know what that is at all?
No,
Okay.
give it to us.
All right. So there's in the personality profile area, there's so many, right? You've got the DISC and the Myers-Briggs and you name it. There's so many. And then there's some like more, all of those pretty much say, okay, who are you from your own perspective? So we do the best we can to connect to what we really care about. Now, those can all change. I mean, some of them are better than others at changing, but in particular, the DISC, I've been every combination of the DISC since I took it 20 years ago, because I've grown over, I've become more connected to who I really am. And so they're great for the way that they can be used, and they are changeable because we're people and we don't often know exactly who we are. At least some of us don't. And human design, and there's another one that's closely related to it, gene keys, are much more based on who are you, not from your perspective, but rather from your birth time, from the energetic space of the world when you came to being, all of that. There's a lot more to it. It's not just astrological, it's Jewish mysticism there's a bunch of things. I don't even know what they are, but mainly the goal is to give you more of your gifts and more of who you are. And so how did I get on that? Oh yeah.
We talked a little bit about, or you told us a little bit how Jamie said, yeah, it's time for you to be present. And this is where we landed, right?
Yes. So from the standpoint of learning my own gifts and getting an understanding of what would it look like for me to be a connected person, to not be a tech person that wants to show up as a hero every day. And I was a pretty good hero. I liked responding to crisis, and I did good with that. And I traveled well, things like that. That was all good. but yet I wasn't. I was just destination thinking, right? If I do this, then eventually I bring home the money, and eventually I'll be happy. And so I got a coach, and I had a mentor that was a healer. And together, both of them were in their 60s, and that's the setting. That's what started it.
Awesome. I
That
think
is
that's
amazing. So we've been talking recently, at least I've been talking recently about what it means to be the hero. Like, because that is a space I enjoy a lot at work. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get to show up, I get to solve the problem. Yeah, I get to swoop in and everyone's like, "Oh, you did such a good job. Thank you. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you." But what it gets me in the end is, burnout. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to
Yeah.
show up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to miss my family vacation. I don't want to not be able to be present any place else in my life except for what it takes to get somebody to tell me that I'm awesome at work. Like, that's just a
Mm-hmm.
tough place to be. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of start their journey of,
Yeah.
this isn't as much fun as it was 25 years ago. Like, I don't
No.
really need you to tell me I'm awesome these days. I really need to be able to go to Red Rocks and unplug from being
Mm-hmm.
your hero for a bit. So
Yes.
that is an interesting. It always surprises me how many coincidences happen in this podcast. Like, the fact that you would start there for why you decided to take your journey is really interesting. So, Sarah,
Yeah.
did I interrupt you? I felt like I jumped over top of you again,
no,
always.
huh? No.
I'm remembering a lot of times the really great things, even in the movies, right, are come from a really dark space. And that year, 2014, 2015, that was the hardest year of my life for sure. We were having our fifth child, and I had the biggest project in the world, and I was the lead on it. It was an awesome project, but when you almost like feel guilty for even right at the end was when when we had Oren, our fifth one, and it was hard to be there because I was so worried about the team and the state of the situation of the project, right? So, I mean, I'm not gonna. No one's at fault for that. It was there was a lot of things that all of us learned.
Yes.
And that was really my takeaway from the year, right? Is like, well, I needed a lot of wake up calls, so we had that.
Yeah, yeah, I can 100% understand that. All right. So, let's dig a little bit deeper into kind of what you and what I've called in all of my notes the crew.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you what matters the most to you guys? So when you're working with your clients, when you're building your kind of community, what core values are you always kind of returning to? So a lot of what we've been trying to do recently with our self-help and with a lot of kind of learning how to grow as people has been based on figuring out our values is really hard. Like, to kind of
Yes.
tie into DISC and Myers-Briggs and all that, I'll give you a different personality depending on what I think you want to hear,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the brain on me gets that I just want you to like me. And if you want me to be an ENJM at C, then I'll be an EMJFKFC. Whatever it is you want me to, I'll answer in the way that makes
Yeah.
you like me.
Yeah.
So
You're an expressive influencer that knows how to navigate that all very easily.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm an expressive influencer that will just be a little chameleon as long as at the end you say what a great job I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a very specific need. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working with people and you're trying to get people to kind of go through that journey, what are the values that you and Jamie's your wife, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What values do you guys come back to kind of ground yourselves in
Mm-hmm.
helping ground people in their values, I think is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, what we focus on is the sacred things about each person. like, honestly, there's a lot of things that we don't listen to about ourselves. And when we let ourselves go there and have those conversations, then we can start figuring out what we really want in life. We are right now, it's interesting. I mean, we kind of have a mix of people, younger people like in their 30s that are interested. Some of those maybe will turn into clients, but most of our clients are actually in their late 50s or early 60s. And what they usually have a business, which is kind of our space. We work with entrepreneurs, and they they have something they wanted to do with their life, but they haven't got there entirely, not to their own satisfaction, at least. That doesn't mean they haven't been successful from a monetary standpoint or something else, but they they always wanted to do something, and now that there's the time clock ticking a little bit, they want to figure that out, and that includes actually a coach of the original coach of mine. He wants to. I think he'll be fine with me sharing that. He wants to do more speaking. He wants to get his. He actually would be a great radio host. He started in radio in the 80s. And yeah, so he we came to him, he helped us, and now we're helping him work through that. So there's to go down that road, we need to understand a whole different set of things than what you learned in college. We need to know a lot more about your spiritual gifts, which is human design and Gene Keys will help you do. Those are free profiles you can do online. Now, human design is a monstrous situation. Go talk to a certified person. I'm not even certified. I use it a lot, but I have no clue what it really says. So there's a lot of complication to that. Gene Keys is much easier to understand, but those profiles give you more about what are the gifts that you bring to the table. And we have natural gifts that we see and understand all the time, like people that run fast and people that are funny and all that, right? And then there's this other, those things matter very much. And there's this other side of our gifts portfolio that we don't pay attention to. And that could be healing, or it could be, I mean, you can use all kinds of different approaches to look at what those gifts are. There's one profile that's fairly new from the Table Group near San Francisco and in California. It's called the Working Genius. That doesn't really deal with spiritual gifts, but they get pretty close in a personality profile. They teach you about the gift that you bring to work, and for example, and that helps us start to think about, okay, so there's a process to work. How do I fit into that? That's one example. But just diving into that and who am I? What gifts do I really have? And what is the thing that's so deep in my heart, in my soul, that I want to do? Like if our approach is to build something and do something repetitively to cope in life and then to retire and suddenly be happy, I don't think that works. And I think pretty much all of us that are under 50 or so don't have no interest in that, really, deep down, if we're really honest at all. And that's what we're being sold. And so we're helping people get away from that.
No, I really like the idea of what gifts do I bring? It's a question that I've had to answer over and over and over and over again in my career. And Sarah, I don't know about you and Becca, as you start your journey, like why am I going to take this job? And at the beginning, I will take that job because I am starving and I would like a place to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I don't take this job, I will have to continue to work at Cinnabon at the mall.
It's really still why I have the job that I do. I mean, I'm having a lot of trouble right now doing like my developmental plan thing and my goals and shit. because I'm literally, my goal is to not get fired. That's
Right.
like, I
I feel that.
I show up to get paid. That's literally the extent of my job. I don't like that's yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I
my
mean,
day job, that's I've never really found a day job where I was able to get into what I really felt was my gift. But that's why I'm doing my side job now. So
Yes. Which, I mean, for many Americans, that's where it is right now. Is so many people have a side gig of some type that's really where their heart is.
yeah,
And then how do you turn that into something that supports you? That's the hard part.
yeah, that's the secret sauce. Does that make sense?
secret
That's what I
sauce.
was
I
gonna
think secret
say.
There
sauce
is no
always
secret.
applies. It's cheese sauce. Like it always goes. It
I
always
love
goes.
Yes.
cheese sauce. Yeah, but I mean that's where I am now is figuring out and
Mm-hmm.
trying things out and what's going to make it work to be what I actually do, which I know I'm years off of that, but um I can say that this is possible. This is the work I'm doing on the side. And I don't know if I mentioned, Kevin, in an email to you, I'm starting my own coaching business. So that is just, it's ridiculously fulfilling. And I haven't even made a cent yet. So it's just, and it came from this podcast and it came from getting feedback from our listeners and having an impact. And that filled a little bit of my heart in a way that I never experienced before. And that's how kind of my journey started in that. But I feel there's a lot of us that are in that same space.
Yes. Yep.
Sissy
Yeah.
was just lucky to have a job that she actually liked to do from a young age because she's weird.
I mean, but uh, you still have to figure out who you are in this
Yes.
job. So, Kevin, I do clinical research. So, I was pretty fortunate to be able to really see some amazing things happen, like get involved with companies where they're using gene therapy to make little kids
Wow.
here. I mean, I'll continue to talk about that until I die. That was the most
As
amazing.
you should.
Like, how do you beat that? Like, continue to be involved with these things where you feel and sometimes it's not really fun. Like earlier today I could have throat punched somebody who is really trying to do good work, but not in the way that I want them to do good work. But you have to find a way to, and this kind of gets into my next question, you have to find a way to bring who you are to your work and get something back in return. And I think that's where a lot of people are looking at it and being like, no, I don't want to show up every day and I don't want to update the project plan and I don't want to do the risk log. What's up, Sarah?
Me.
That's you? Like, I don't care how.
No, I wanted to say, like you said, bring you and your talents, or however you just worded it. And the second quarterly wellness newsletter went out to the company.
Yes.
Kevin, I work in IT.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did for 25 years.
Yeah, and my boss during my last review wanted to know what drives you. What do you want to do? I was like, I want to help people and not with computers. And so one
Awesome.
of the things I pitched was some sort of wellness newsletter that goes out to the whole company. Well, just to our group, really. And it ended up, it goes out to the whole company. So I
Sweet.
sent out my second one and got a lot of good feedback. So, and my boss today commented on it in our meeting and said that, yeah, it might not be IT, but it's great visibility.
Yeah. Maybe you're a future people officer.
There you go.
Yeah, that still seems way too corporate-y, but okay.
Well, it's kind of the idea of having coaching in and I'm sure there's all kinds of different flavors, right? But there are coaches that do focus in corporate and even small business, if that's where you're at,
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, sis, I interrupted. I was just excited.
That's all right.
I love
No,
my newsletter.
I was just gonna validate my own personal decisions to not operate a side business and say, like, You can find what you need if you're willing to frame your mind in the right way inside of a structure. But you have to find a place where you can give yourself to it, where I can get on the phone with somebody who works with me and be like, "Hey, asshat, let's settle down and figure out what we're going to do." I have to be someplace where that's going to be an acceptable start to a meeting. What the hell is going on? I am never going to be super successful at a corporation where realness isn't tolerated. And it took me a long time to kind of get there from where I started. Only in the past couple years have I been like, if that's how the work gets done and that's how I bring forward momentum to something, then that's just as valid as the person who writes a very formal, very tight, very succinct email. Like these are two flavors of how we get stuff done. And you just have to find the right place for the way that you're going to do it. And even though I didn't have a coach, I had you, and I had the podcast, and I, I had I had you to tell me all along that what you're doing is fine. Like what you're doing is fine. And even though we didn't realize that it was coaching, it was exactly coaching. So even though I didn't have a formal coach, I did have you and the podcast and, eventually Becca to kind of push me in a direction where I was cool and okay with being who I am at work. And
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point of everything we did, everything we're doing.
Tying it back into the mental health and the mental wellness kind of piece of it, a lot of it was kind of making peace with who I am as a spicy neurodivergent person. Like even though I look perfectly normal on the outside,
Don't give
inside,
yourself so much credit.
isn't she terrible, Becca? Isn't she awful? Imagine growing up with it. Like the therapy.
Listen, you
that
literally
I
were
have to
like,
be in.
hey, you literally were like, hey, set me the ball. And I did.
And you were like,
or no, you set me the ball and I just killed it. That's what it was.
Slammed it down.
That
Right.
was awesome.
Sure did. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, like,
Sorry.
So let's talk about people on some sort of spectrum, right? What I see when I talk to them is very gifted people, super gifted. There's this one kid that I love talking to, and he sees people that are missing. Probably they died, most likely. He sees them, and other things that are normal for them. I wouldn't say challenged, I would say gifted. And that's the way it's been for forever. Someone that is dyslexic is often a good business owner. And my father-in-law is definitely dyslexic, and he's worth a lot of millions, and so he's a good entrepreneur. He does that pretty easily, other than the typical fear that all of us would have, right? So yeah, I think we have an opportunity to look at things a little differently with the information that we have today. And I should warn people though, when you go down this road of you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna figure my calling out. Suddenly, what we're really signing up for is that the things that matter the most to us, they might include different people. They might include, like, we live in Mexico. Last year, at the beginning of January, beginning of 2004, we decided that we were going to move to Mexico in a space of 2 hours because of a conversation we had, and because we just felt within that 2 hour period that we needed to do that as part of our business. And we went down and told our boys, we had, a 7-bedroom house. I had everything that I ever dreamt of, definitely had exceeded my expectations for life from a, having things standpoint. And then we had the opportunity to figure out how to give that all away and sell our house and leave the U.S. Not permanently, obviously, but move. We call it 7 bedrooms and 7 suitcases. So I'm not saying that's the path for everyone, but I do think it's good to warn people that you're signing up for the things that matter most to you. that doesn't usually mean where you are right now and the people that you're with right now and the setting and some of the things that you think really matter to you right now. You're asking for something different, and that's what we'll get.
I think that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's hard to explain that. And I think it's hard. That's the hardest thing to accept when you're trying to change. But that's part of what I like to say all the time is this shit's hard. This isn't easy. It's uncomfortable. When I worked with my coach, the best things that came out of me were in my worst times.
Yep.
Were in the times where I was so uncomfortable. Like she asked me a few sessions in, what works the best? Well, I hate to say it, but when you push me to a point where I'm very uncomfortable, I feel that's where I make the most progress. And that's part of it. That's the uncomfortable thing, is being able to say, hey, I need to make some big freaking changes in my life. And unfortunately, that's probably going to include saying bye to a few people.
Yeah. And we don't have to say we're saying bye out of love. We're just not quite spending as much time. And it's not anything about them. I think one of the things that the most beautiful things I've learned in this process is to have a different conversation with my parents than I ever, and my mom's obviously, she's here, but she's in a different spot than I ever dreamed of having. And it made it so much better to say to them in a certain way, when we're pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone, our parents suddenly become like we're being different than what they wanted us to be, or what we thought they wanted us to be would be a better way to say it. Because technically our parents want us to succeed beyond them, right? But they also want to keep us safe. So the conversation of mom and dad, I honor you and I love you. And because of that, I step into my calling. And because of that, I'm figuring this out. And yes, it's not going to feel safe sometimes because it's different. But I'm doing that because I honor you and because I love you. And I learned that down here. And there's a reverence in Mexico for your ancestors. And yeah, there was a coach that I had that lives here in Mexico, and there's something there's just a huge reverence for their ancestors here. For the Mayans, I live in the Riviera Maya area in the Yucatan, so south of Playa del Carmen. And this is an area that's very much Mayan. There's all kinds of different ruins and everything is, and even the names are Mayan. And so there's just this, even in say some of their ceremonies that they do, that's a part of it where they thank their ancestors. But I was working with a coach on over the last year, just kind of deconstructing some of my childhood stuff. And she offered to me that if I resist anything from the programming I got from my parents, that I'm actually causing it to cycle again and again, right? So to reframe that, what we did is this conversation of mom and dad, I honor you and I love you. And because I honor you and I love you, I step into this calling that I'm being asked to move into. And then we close with the same thing and just like leaving everything that's their struggle at their feet. Not because they deserve it, but because it's not mine. And I don't need to carry it around anymore. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I like that. Like a very reverent version of this is not my circus. Those are your
Yeah.
monkeys.
Yep.
I hope you enjoy them. I love these other monkeys.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think when we talk about making big changes, like, back when we started this, I was like, that book title has the F word in it. That is going to be a great self-help book for me. And
Uh-huh.
Sarah and I cycled through, I don't know, 6 or 7. We got into this one, and then we were Atomic Habits, and we were Let Them for a half a heartbeat.
Second.
I mean, but
No, it's those first three were the ones.
yeah, like and constantly we're looking for shoulds. All right, well, tell me what I should do. Tell me what I
Tell me
should
what
do.
I do next.
Yeah, give me. Do you have a checklist? Is there a workbook? Oh, if we have a workbook, we'll definitely be able to change our lives. And it turns out, in order to change your life, you really need to just do the work. Put in the work, the effort, the willingness to be uncomfortable, the willingness to understand that if you would like your life to be different, you're going to have to act different and do things different. And how you get there is a lot of where the hard stuff happens. No one can tell you exactly how. No one's got a checklist for you unless that
My wife does.
checklist unless that checklist
I
is
love a good freaking checklist too.
get ready to be uncomfortable in these 50 ways. Like,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
even if that checklist is be uncomfortable, you're gonna have to put yourself there. You're gonna have to, like, you can't get up to the point of, oh yeah, checklist says I should do X, but X seems super hard. And there's another self-help book right over there that I could just read that one. So we're trying to avoid the situation where we just keep getting the same advice and keep ignoring the same advice. So how do you make sure that the growth happens as a coach? How do you empower people to be like, look, I know it's hard and I know that I am going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable. Everything is going to potentially feel terrible for a minute, but we're going to get past it. How do you get people to do that? What's the secret sauce? Sarah will steal it and put it into hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she
Perfect.
won't, I swear. She
I
has
will.
her own
Well,
stuff.
well, we live in a world where there's no IP in this space anymore. I'd love to give everyone all the things that we've learned, and hopefully you would try some of them out and give them back to me perfected. Right? We're going into a space here that none of us really know what we're doing, and we're just experimenting. And I mean, I think when you have a meeting, and Sarah, you're going to understand this easily, when you create enough emotional space that the person understands that when they arrive, it's all about them. And then you're going to build some trust. I mean, we could use this concept for every relationship that we have. I know I'm still working on giving my wife enough emotional space, right? Like I'm learning 20 years, 30 years too late, but still I'm learning now that there's certain things about the way she needs to process the conversation, and I, for some reason, never figured this out before, right?
It's hard. Again,
Yeah.
it's hard. Go
Yeah.
ahead, sorry.
So that's a good place to start. I remember one story. My coach, whose name is Mark, and he did a lot of these disc things where he would show up and talk to people about their disc, but he'd give them a chance to tell their story, every single one of them. And this one lady, she broke down and just basically was like, I haven't told anyone, but I was raped last week. And he's like, what? But that's the kind of thing that happens when you show up and someone senses like, oh my goodness, this person's actually here for me. And obviously he didn't help her with, well, I'm sure he did help as much as he could, but obviously he would have told her to get some help to process that. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that comes up automatically. I think if we're aware of, if we're doing the work ourselves, that's the most important. If I stop doing the work, even 10 years after starting, and I'm showing up to calls and not continuing my own work, then I'm not going to show up. I would in a vulnerable space and that's the biggest difference between an entry level coach and an advanced coach, is understanding how much there is ongoing and getting that team in place. And if I could do anything over, starting with my much bigger bank account, would be, I would start there. I would build my team and recognize and figure out how to get this in my mind that I need to continue the work and figure that out. How am I going to create that plan to continue my own work. And I think that would have been a little bit easier, but maybe I couldn't have done it faster, which is completely fine too. Like I needed a lot of time to get out of my work addiction for the beginning, you know.
Yes, it's very hard.
Yes. Oh, I
That was
was
one of the things that my coach would always tell me, though. She was very adamant that she would never give me any sort of assignment or push like she did. Everything that she did with me, she had experience, she had worked through, or however you want to put it. And I thought that was pretty, I don't know, comforting, I guess, as a client, like knowing that she's been there and that
Yeah.
she was kind of in the same situation, even though our stories are very different. So I think that that's something I hope to continue along my practice. I don't have any plans to suggest anything too crazy because I haven't done anything too crazy yet. So, but yeah, I think I agree with you. That's one of the things is that I feel as a coach that we can never stop working on ourselves. If we're not working on ourselves and we're not continuing to grow and push ourselves, I don't think it's very fair that we ask other people to do it. That's just me, and I have a half a client. So
yeah, I mean, like don't undervalue that. One thing I work on a lot is working with women entrepreneurs to let go of all of the stigmas that make it so that it's hard to do this. And whatever stage you're at, if you're doing it, just, I mean, be thankful that you're there because it's pretty hard. And it's the same issue for guys. It's just a different set of issues. The whole idea, I mean, one of my biggest things is the money thing, right? Like I used to do a lot of sales in tech, and it's okay, so let's create what we're doing and then let's sell it. No, that's not what works in this space. We have to be it. And then by being it, we can put it out there. So we all have our own stuff to work through, past life, sometimes inherited issues that have to do with, and even cultural issues that have to do with a woman being in charge of something, which, yeah, I mean, that's been a big struggle for my wife. She's the CEO. I report to her. So, but that's the perfect situation for her to address the things. She gets big visions in life. She's the visionary. And, yeah, the rest of us have to help her through that process and get to what really is what she wants to do. And then do it alongside of her.
Yeah, that's again, I feel we've come full circle here a couple of times. Oftentimes, I'm the only girl in the room. Oftentimes, I'm the one who, it, has to say things. Let's go. Come on. Let's get it done. And like the traditional, kind of girl cheerleader things aren't necessarily going to work or resonate with the people that I got to motivate. So you got to kind of figure out, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to be the cheerleader in this case. I'm going to be the loudmouth sort of truck driver. And again, kind of getting back to my chameleon kind of personality, you just got to figure out what's going to, and kind of step away from, oh, I can't do that because I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. And that took, I don't know, still I'll find myself like defaulting to, hey guys, come on, let me
That's
grab these
awesome.
pom-poms and let's talk about how we can have a pep rally.
I was just going to say I could see you with pom-poms.
Right. Yeah, but that's not the thing that's going to capture anybody's attention. You showing up and throwing around a well-placed F-bomb is going to be the thing that makes people go, yeah, right. You need to make that
All
face
right.
because we need to get going.
Love it.
Yeah, and we've it gets back to a lot of the stuff that we've talked about is finding out who you are and who you can bring to it that's maybe a little bit different than what you're traditionally supposed to do in those situations. Take note, Becca. Save yourself like 20 years of pom-poms.
There you go.
Noted. I'll toss mine out.
I think one of the cool things about today is that people, Rebecca, I don't know how old you are. So,
I'm
but
23.
Okay, so people your age and younger, they get this stuff. They were born with it, a lot of them.
Cheaters.
And so they're one thing that I've really grown to learn as a dad of 6 boys is that, you know, little kids, a little baby, that's a more spiritual version of a human being than the adult. And if we want to learn something from someone, go find a kid. They are spiritual, right? Like they actually get things. And so we built a society in the US that's actually the exact backwards. It's just it doesn't work because we're trying to teach all of our kids what we needed to succeed the last generation. This has probably always been this way. It wasn't just the US. But the thing is, like, we're so safety focused and so fear based that it's got to stop. We can't, it's not going to work. So we can start paying attention to our kids. So we read a book. The name of the book is Summerhill, and it's about a school in the middle of the UK somewhere, and in the 1950s. Like this is 70 years ago. They were doing this stuff. They had a boarding school where the kids picked what they wanted to do, and it's quite amazing. The thing I love about the book is the author and the person that had the school and designed the school. He told you about the disadvantages to his plan. Like he was honest and vulnerable about it. And there was some things that didn't go so great, but ultimately they got the kids that didn't fit in, that were the rule breakers, and so it's very impressive. And that's what we've done with our kids. We do soul school. We focus on not what we think might work in the future, but we allow them to pick what they're going to do. And it's quite amazing to watch what my 5-year-old, he's like a language expert. Um, I have, sometimes I feel we've taught him almost nothing, and yet he learns it through the air. I have no idea how he does it. He can, of course, he's got a great memory, and he does a lot of different games and stuff on on the Switch or whatever. But he'll read the screen partially because he probably heard it from someone on a YouTube video or something. But also he's learned the alphabet by himself. He's amazing. And he's the one that we've let, like, we worked with him from when he was in the womb, like energetically. And so we've really done the opposite, like let him lead, and we're the ones that are supporting him from day one. And it's amazing to watch. And now there's probably some gifted things about him too, but that's what makes it amazing to watch. And all of us are that way, right? He's a little bit like you in that. Christine, what's your name? It says Chris, but I don't know.
Christine.
Mhm.
Christine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I call her Christine. I call her Sissy too, so I probably don't help.
Yeah. Okay. I'm name challenged, so. But
Good.
anyway, he's so people oriented. Like he could be one of those streamers that just talks nonstop. He does to all of us. He's just this chatty person that goes around the house and just engages everyone and everything, right? And anyway, but what I would say to you, Sarah, as a coach, find a friend in your network that does something like healing, energy healing or something. Do a session with someone together. And this is what we started to do. Take your different gifts that you offer someone. Just experiment with this. Have a session where you can talk about what's going on in someone's life, and do this with someone that's done some work for a while, so they know how to be vulnerable, and also with someone that can help you with limiting beliefs, and have fun with that. To me, it's the best, because what happens is, this is why I do what I do, is I needed all this help, and then I started to realize, oh, I can do this. And so I started to learn, mostly like in IT. I had every certification test that I ever dreamt of getting, but I don't do that here. I do have a couple certifications. I've mostly though learned from people. It's just helps me not engage my knowledge side and more my intuitive side. But that's what we are experimenting with, and what we're building in our team is where we take people that have these different gifts. We like to pair someone that's got the gift of discernment, usually a coach, with someone that's more emotional and more like a healer. And we put those two together and then see what happens with supporting our clients. And so far, we've loved it. I think
I love that. Yeah.
it's a concept, like if you think about, I'm from the Midwest Mayo Clinic, what they did with doctors is putting all the experts in one room and talking with the patient, quote unquote, instead of having one doctor and then the other one and the other one come all day. They put them together and talk together. And that's kind of the concept of what we're doing, of like, I mean, we could put a hypnotist and a healer and a coach in the room, or whatever's appropriate, and just dive into what's possible. And that's what I think when it gets really fun, is when you allow yourself to start experimenting with the concept of doing work. And to what Christine is saying, as long as we're doing that work, we're in the same, like there's something that's connecting us, all of us doing work together. It's just like we get to have the real thing that we want in life.
Yeah. I love that.
It's so, again, I am just gobsmacked, if I could use the word gobsmacked, because I think we're going to have to bring it back. Becca, take note. We're going to bring gobsmacked back.
I don't even know really what where did it come from? What does it really mean?
Here's sandwich cookies.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
see,
Just someone
that-
came up and smacked somebody else right in the face with a big sandwich cookie.
Is that what happened? I was thinking gobstoppers.
No.
Yeah, me too. It is kind of a word that makes you think of many things at once.
Right.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I'm all
Okay,
for
go
it.
ahead.
But, it's so... everything is so interesting in its interconnectedness. Olivia comes into my office today and she's, "Hey, what do you know about chakras?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Where would I ever find a chakra?" And she's like, "Look at these memes."
Sounds painful.
Look at these memes I've downloaded. So she's talking to her roommate, Mary, and Mary's going through some stuff. And she's like, "Listen, look at these things. Let's talk about it." And I, for the first time in like 100 years, I was like, maybe I opened my mind up to something that isn't, a cut and dry kind of thing. And I'm like, yes, send it to me, show it to me. Let me see what's happening. And then Kevin, to hear you talking about combining healing with doing actual work and just having a bit of that sort of like open-mindedness to some of these things. Like earlier in our podcast, we were really touching on meditation, really touching on, ways to affect your consciousness that for us always tied back into taking an action, looking at something and taking an action, looking at something and taking an action. But kind of having that open-mindedness to say, yeah, look at the chakra or whatever it is that leads you to do, I think is the place where we came to some kind of overlap with those things. But again, gobsmacked that Olivia's in my office talking about doing some of this, and then you're here talking about how like collectively working on a person in ways that may be unexpected. Like, and a theme throughout my day today has been working with different groups of people that make me want to throat punch them, but are also necessary for us to get our stuff done. Like, it is, again, kind of wild the way the universe lines up sometimes. So I will leave
Are
you guys
chakra
with.
specific for throat punching?
Yeah, the throat chakra.
Yeah, I think it's right here.
Okay.
I think it's this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just new. I'm just a baby here. So, but
Yeah.
Kevin, is that kind of like what, does chakras have anything to do with what you're talking about, or am I just making up connections in my head?
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, we could connect most of what I talk about with chakras, not because it's the center, but it's just related. Like, I learned, maybe that my energy mentor, I don't know if he talked about chakras too much, but I tried to learn about what he was doing, because he wasn't like a teacher so much. He was more of like, "Hey, do you know you could do this?" And So I found someone, her name is Cindy Dale, and she's amazing. I've taken some of her classes and actually just purchased one the other day. I need to get started on physical healing. And she talks a lot about, she's done a lot of integration across multiple cultures. So she's fun to talk to, because what you find out if you start to look into chakra systems and stuff like that is there's different ones. And so it's like, well, which one is real, right? I like Cindy because she's gone and talked to people and really kind of understood there's slightly different perspectives, but pretty much everyone agrees. It's just that you have to get past the slight differences. And so she's done that and then published books to explain like why. And Cindy is, speaking of someone that's, her mother was physically abused while she was in the womb. And she's one of the rare people that knows, like, she remembers the womb, because she was not in a place of safety. She was also part of that experience. And a lot of, I don't know, like whether she was gifted before that and then she was more gifted. I don't know how that all works, but like she's hugely gifted. Like she's one of those people that can um, see your chakras, see your aura. Like chakras are actually pretty complicated when you think about them in reality, and she can see them in detail. Sorry, hit my mic. She
Happens all the
can
time.
see your aura. She does a lot with working on the aura, and the aura is a place that can hold a lot of stuff, trauma from even your parents, things that aren't even ours. We take on because we're so kind and loving people. And yeah, she can see all that. She can see so much and just very gifted. And so she teaches other people all kinds of things about the spiritual realm and how to work with people. One of the things she teaches is healing is really like just returning things to the way that they're meant to be. It's not any rocket scientist, right? And really, we're supposed, like, that's something that we are meant to know. We're all healers. We can all receive healing, and obviously, we have different approaches. But yeah, healing is just, it's honestly, it's just receiving love. What causes a problem in the body? Like, if you look at the science of this, right? There's this book called The Biology of Belief, and there's a stem cell researcher. You can get into this stuff. Dr. Bruce Lipton was at, I believe, University of Madison, Wisconsin, and he was trying to tie genes to disease, but he absolutely failed and ended up quitting the whole place because he proved that the environment, he had two petri dishes, and the cells differed depending on the energy that was around them. And so he basically said, he tried to convince his whole group, the whole faculty, that, hey, we're wrong. We gotta like start paying attention to this. And they kicked him out. And anyway, so there's more to that story, I'm sure, than what I took out of it. But our energy, everything about us, really, we're meant to be a source of love. We are love. That's the hard part. That may be the hardest thing. That's what the work really is to come to grips with that, to learn to love ourselves, to accept that we are love. That's a tough one, especially for a lot of us that came from a Christian background. Nothing against that background. It's just like somehow there's some stuff that isn't quite true that we tend to believe. And if you actually know the truth, then you can go back and kind of understand where we went wrong on some of it, right? It's not really that the source teaching's wrong. It's what we've done with it. But that being said, we're also, all of our chakras, what they're there for is to process energy. The primarily and most powerful energy for them to process is love and good energy, right? So what happens when you have limiting beliefs, or you have emotions trapped in your body, or you have other things? You block it, and suddenly you're not loving yourself in some way, right? So, for example, this is a simple example. In your root chakra, we are meant to be connected to our environment in a powerful, thankful, and appreciative way. That includes our job. And if we force ourselves to do the work that we don't actually like doing, and if we are in an environment that's not supportive, we're traumatizing our root chakra. So, and the earth is a center of love as well. The heavens are the unconditional love from God, or however you want to think about it. Then from the earth and from ourselves. And so the root chakra goes into the earth, grounds us, connects us to that love. And we're meant to, right outside my window before I got on the podcast, there was a monkey. I was watching him. And
I want a monkey outside my window.
No, you don't.
I live in the
Sorry,
jungle.
Kevin.
I mean, there's some really bad things about.
I mean, I have that monkey, but
yeah. I mean, there's some bad things about living in the jungle, by the way. I mean, we have scorpions, we have huge spiders, we have millions of ants that decide to go.
You know what? Sorry. I'm great with that. I'm perfectly fine with that monkey
Yeah,
and
it's
all
a
my
blanket.
Amazon
If
boxes.
someone would have told me this, I wouldn't live here, but I'm glad I do. And I've learned to love
The
spiders.
monkey.
Actually, yeah, whatever. It's a long story. I won't get into it, but I'm learning to love even the strangest things. I have not figured out how to love a scorpion. I'm fine with pretty much killing those. They don't seem to have good energy, but spiders actually do, and I've hated spiders all my life. Anyway, so yeah.
No, I love that my daughter is like, no, look, you Sarah, we've talked about how you feel when you feel depressed, and you're like, this is a physical thing. And Olivia's like, if you look at these chakra pictures, this is where you feel this shit. And she's like, this is where I feel this particular thing. And she is really like,
that's huge.
Trying to tease
and
out
that's good.
What's OCD, what's ADD, what's depression, what is suicidal ideation versus what's an intrusive thought. And she's like, all of those things get caught like in these different places on me, and maybe I can use that as a clue to how worried I should be about each of these individual things. And combining that with her
That's
therapy
amazing.
and her medication, I'm like, hey, there's no reason not to. There's no reason that you should cut that off because it's a little bit non-traditional. I mean,
and that's really hard to do. I'm gonna have to talk to her because that's one of the things that I have so much trouble with because with my meditation practice and using the breath work, the breathing that I do, that's one of the things I've been trying so hard is to be able to pinpoint where I feel whatever emotion is happening. And I have a really hard time going anywhere but right here.
it's just all in my shoulders.
All of my emotions are just right here.
Responsibility.
And I try to not
responsibility.
I try to not be like
they're
like that's wrong, because I know in meditation, like you're not doing it wrong. But there's a part of my brain that's like, everybody else is talking about they're feeling things here and here and here. And literally every freaking emotion I have, it's just everything gets right here.
Why isn't that wrong? Why would that be wrong?
And that's what I mean. Because I feel like everybody else feels things all over the place, like Livy is. So I feel like there's something I'm not digging deep enough into. I feel everything, I'm forcing everything here instead of just.
Well, there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, and who cares, right? We don't need to judge it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, don't.
Yeah.
I'm with what Christine was saying. Like, we don't need to judge but
and that's what I've been, just you bringing it up, Christine, just talking about like that's.
Yeah, I came across something. I don't care.
Amazing.
Definitely responsibility. So probably you've got something. So there's certain part of what we can let go that you can do through breath work, and you don't need to know what it was, like certain emotions. There's also things though that we need to know about and talk about to let go. And so you need a modality that can expose what it is and have the conversation where you dig deep enough with that.
Right.
And sometimes you even need something like, for me, I needed to get started in this. I needed hypno, which hypno is nothing like what you see on the stage.
Cluck like a chicken or.
No, it's like being hyper aware. It's similar. I use a methodology called theta healing, which is very similar. You go into theta brainwave, which is way more easy for you to, and it's hyper awareness, I would say, like in a positive way. It feels like amazing place of love, right? So
It's not like a freaky psychedelic drug.
no, and that's
I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a good place.
yeah. I'm one of those people that don't think that you need help with doing this. I don't think you need
Yeah.
drugs or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that do that, and I'm not like going to speak against them. They know what they're doing. I haven't tried that method.
So I just have to say that, which going back to the shit that's crazy and connected, I literally just saw something today about psychedelic therapy or something. So go ahead. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, all right. Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think
Sorry, Kevin.
someday I might have to try it because I don't know without trying it. But
Yeah.
I don't really have an interest at this point.
No. Sorry, I totally threw us off there.
Yeah.
I think this is a great place to kind of like get to, in that you know, just what Olivia said. She's like, here's what it, because my daughter wants to be a neuroscientist. She wants to figure out, how do we tease apart OCD from ADD? How do I figure out which one of these things it is? And I'm like, open yourself up to lots of stuff right now. I'm like, you're a junior in college. You still have 2 whole years left of book learning. And then you'll end up in graduate school somewhere and go someplace where people are doing cool research. Look into all of it. Like, and
Yeah.
she tried to self-help herself when she was like 12, 13. She's like, I'm just going to be a witch. And that will,
I remember
I'm going to
that.
collect
She
all of
brought
these.
crystals and put them all over
Right,
my house.
right. We're going
Wow.
to just collect all of these rocks, and we're going to put them out in the moonlight or the sunlight or whatever. And then I'm going to throw rosemary around my room, and that will fix me. And I'm like, hey,
That's awesome.
maybe pick some of that back up and figure out, is there anything to it? And like, there's nothing. You're not going to hurt anything. I don't think. Like, you're not going to
No,
hurt
I mean,
yourself.
the good news on this stuff is we can learn a lot of that stuff for fairly cheap. Like, you can go to cindydale.com with it, Cindy with an I, SYD. I don't know if I can spell it. SYNDI, Dale.com, DALE.com. And
I got the Dale right.
yeah,
The other part of it I did
yeah.
not right.
And just buy a couple $100 class about chakras, and she's an expert, like, for sure.
That's amazing.
Kevin, before we let you go, is there anything we didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
I am thoroughly satisfied and with all of the conversation. It was beautiful. Thank you very much for having me. I'm